So let's transition to the Eastern Conference, more specifically the Metro Division. And I'm so glad you brought up Timo Meier
I was
because,
about to say it's not a question for another day because we're about to talk about Timo Meier. So it's a question for today.
well, I mean, technically, it's more of a question about the New Jersey Devils. And the question does become, do they become the next team, more specifically in the Metropolitan Division, to get one of the biggest fishes on the free agent market in Timo Meier? Because the Islanders traded for Bo Horvat, and then a couple days later, our beloved New York Rangers traded for Vladimir Tarasenko. The question becomes, do the Devils trade for Timo Meier?
It would be the tri-state trifecta if they were able to pull that off. And, look, the New Jersey Devils are looking at the New York Islanders and the New York Rangers and the moves they've made over the last couple of weeks. They're cognizant of that. They know that. And Timo Meier, I don't think Timo Meier has been, and you correct me if you think differently, but I don't think Timo Meier up to this point has been connected to any other team more than he's been connected to the New Jersey Devils. So it's just a match made in heaven. And I think that the Devils need to give up the assets to make this happen, because if they don't, they are going to be heavily outclassed by whoever they face in the playoffs, whether that's in the Metropolitan Division or in the Atlantic if they're able to win the division. So I think it's a move that they have to make. But let me just put this out there, Shades, and I'm not sure if you know this, but the Devils came out today and they made Timo Meier untouchable, and they made Luke Hughes untouchable. Now, Luke Hughes, I understand, right? Because he's Jack Hughes' brother, of course,
Well,
had all the media attention when he was drafted.
that and plus those two guys are second and fourth overall picks, respectively, if I remember correctly.
Yes, but again, Timo Meier, he would probably come with an extension. And I think
Hmm.
Timo Meier is going to cost a lot. And I see a lot of Devils fans around Twitter kind of going around and saying, oh, we'll give them Alexander Holtz and first round pick and Damon Severson and that. That's not going to work. You're going to have to give up one of your top prospects for this player, because Shades, there has not been many wingers in the NHL who has been as productive in all three zones as Timo Meier has. So let's not sit here and say that the price tag is going to be low. The Sharks are going to be looking for a lot, and especially if this trade comes after they move Erik Karlsson, they want your best prospect. And guess what? If San Jose calls New Jersey and Timo Meier is off the table, then fuck you. I'm going and trading Timo Meier somewhere else. That's what I would say if I'm San Jose. Seriously, I don't really care where their draft stock is. The Devils are having their first good year in quite a while, and they have a chance to acquire and subsequently re-sign one of the best young forwards in the NHL. You're giving up assets. So I don't know what fantasy land these Devils fans are living in where they think they're going to give up Holtz in a first round pick and get the player. I don't see it.
And I have a prediction that Meier is going to get more than Tarasenko did in a trade return because he's an RFA with arbitration rights. Tarasenko's an expiring UFA who was 100% going to hit the UFA market had he not been traded. So I can 100% see Meier getting more back in a trade.
I think that Timo Meier is going to get the most value of any player traded at this deadline than anybody. There's no player who's going to bring back a bigger return. I really think so.
Do you think it's
Tell
going to be
me a player
similar or more than the Bo Horvat trade?
more. I really do. I think Ratu was, again, somebody who had good draft stock. Again, he was projected, like we mentioned last episode or a couple episodes ago, to be a number one overall pick at one point. Of course, he falls to the second round. I just don't think the prospects are the same. Anthony Beauvillier is somebody who, the Islanders really tried to be patient with, and it just didn't work out in the long run. And again, Bo Horvat is a UFA. So like Tarasenko's a UFA, Horvat's a UFA. So I don't really think you can, compare the two when it comes to Timo Meier. But I will say this: whoever does acquire Timo Meier, I think like 20 minutes after that trade is finalized, he'll be extended to. So you're not trading for a player that, unless it was the Rangers who are in an obvious cap crunch and can't add a $10.5 million player for years on end, then it would have been different. But the Devils are a young team. The Devils cap isn't really, loaded like the Rangers is at this point. If they add Timo Meier, I guarantee you they are going to extend him within a reasonable price range. And if that is the case, if the trade comes with an extension, the Devils are giving up a lot for the player.
Yeah, Devils, they would definitely have to send a contract back the other way because they currently have 14 forwards and 7 defensemen going against the salary cap. But it's definitely doable.
It's definitely doable. And if you look at Timo Meier on the year, he's got 51 points in 54 games. He's almost a point per game player. He's got 315 career points in 448 games. Again, he's been really good. He's got 13 power play goals. He's got 18 power play points. He just completely just makes the Devils a different team. I look at the Devils right now as a first round exit. If Timo Meier becomes a Devil and it's just prospects going back, meaning not players that are making an impact on the team currently, I hate to say this, but sitting here as a Rangers fan, if we faced off in the playoffs, I'd be concerned. I really would.
I would be too, because I look at it as comparing to last year, at least, that this Devils team right now is more fear inducing than the Penguins were at any point last season.
Agreed.
And
And
I don't think that's a hot take at all. I think that's just a straight up fact.
it is a straight up fact. And the Penguins gave us a lot of trouble.
That
We were
was
one
mostly
Louis
because the Rangers this just didn't really gel the way that they should have, or gelled the way that they should
right,
have.
and I just don't think that the Devils are a good matchup for us. I just don't. The Devils play with a ton of speed, and they got good goaltending in Vitek Vanacek. Jack Hughes is a problem, and Jack Hughes and Timo Meier would be a bigger problem.
Yeah.
So I hope it's a trade that's not made, but for the Devils, there's an opportunity here for them to get significantly better and make the playoffs and go further than they've gone at any point since they last made the Stanley Cup in 2012. So with this
Which
player.
they beat us, ironically.
Yes. Well, hopefully it won't be hopefully it'll be a first round matchup if the two teams play together. But I will say this, it'll be an entertaining series.
Oh, absolutely. The Devils are a fast young team. I would love to see that. Would love to see that matchup. Just as a fan.
I'd be frustrated. Yeah, I'll be frustrated at the all end if the Rangers lost, but I'd
Yeah.
be entertained for sure.
You and me both. No, that's a play. Like Rangers Devils would be a playoff series where, as a general hockey fan, that would probably be either my first or second go-to series of the first round this year, if that ends up being the matchup. But as a Rangers fan, I would be excited, but at the same time, I would be a little more worried than I was last year.
Right. And again, yeah, I was not really worried last year going into round one against the Penguins.
I wasn't either, but I became worried.
Oh yeah, I became very worried. I mean, I was even at game one, and after we lost in triple overtime, I was walking down the MSG steps. I still wasn't worried. I was like, don't worry, we'll bounce back. And then of course, right, we won game two, and then we lost both games on the road. When we lost game three on the road, I was like, oh boy. And then we lost game four, and I was like,
oh boy.
And then we fell behind early in game five. And if it wasn't for who scored, was it Trouba, Lafreniere, and Hedel, I think?
I don't even remember.
But again, it was looking really bad there, for a few days. And the Devils would worry me prior to the series more than the Penguins did. So
yeah, but moral of this portion or this section of the podcast, if the Devils end up with Meier, they automatically become a big problem, not just a problem.
mm-hmm.
And like I said, as a Rangers fan, they would scare me a little bit, but as a general hockey fan, I would look at that team and go, that team can possibly do some damage.
The Devils honestly scare me more, with Timo Meier, and I'll wrap it up on this. Timo Meier, the Devils with Timo Meier scares me more than the Bruins do. Even with 83 points, they scare me more than the Maple Leafs do. They don't scare me more than Tampa Bay, obviously, because Tampa Bay is Tampa Bay.
Obvious reasons.
But I would rather face Carolina than face New Jersey. I would rather face Washington. That goes without saying. Pittsburgh, Florida, Buffalo, the Islanders, so there's only, one matchup I like that I would rather not have ahead of the Devils, and that's Tampa Bay. So, New Jersey is going to be a force to be reckoned with. And if they go a couple rounds in the playoffs and make a semi-deep run, I won't be surprised.
No, I wouldn't be surprised either, especially after the way the Devils got off to that hot start to the season, which
Mhm.
kind of just blew everyone away.
Right. And they've, I'm not going to say they've been mediocre since then, but they haven't been as dominant, since the start of the year. And it comes to the point where they necessitate, in addition to that top six. And yeah.
But hey, come playoff time, this could be a very scary team when/if they acquire Timo Meier. And if he doesn't get traded to the Devils, does he stay in San Jose? Because he is RFA, is an RFA.
I actually normally I would say no way, but I actually think that there is an outside chance that Timo Meier could remain a San Jose Shark. There's a good relationship between team and player. It's not like that the relationship is broken and this is a player that needs to get out of town. This is a young, talented forward that spent his entire career with the Sharks in San Jose. And sure, his chances to win aren't great, but who's to say the Sharks don't win the draft lottery after trading Carlson and put Connor Bedard with Timo Meier? And suddenly you really have something to work with moving forward. So things can change. But right now, I think the team with the most to offer San Jose for this player are the New Jersey Devils.